Warning. This episode may include uncontrollable tears, excessive sweating, talks of future bowel movements, and cursing out of producers. This content may be unsuitable for the squeamish, the elderly, and Kyle Pitts dynasty managers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome into the Untitled Show with myself, Kendall Valenzuela, and Amanda, aka Cooterdoodle. That was amazing. And if that is not the best lineup, guys, for this show and what we're about to do, I don't know what is. We are joined today by the one and only Coach Gene Clemons here today. And it's a special edition because not only do we have, all of us together once again, which is amazing, we're doing a little bit of a challenge. And we're doing hot takes for the NFL draft today. Gene, we are so excited. We're a little bit nervous, but that's okay. We're going to get through it together.
Yeah, it's getting hot in here, so take out all your milk. You got to have everything ready for something like this. And I am prepared. I have everything that I've been told that I need in order to get through something as arduous as this. I have a little possible libation. I've got some homemade pickled cucumbers right here, just in case. I've got yogurt. I've got water.
Okay.
I mean, I am prepared for whatever we may have to encounter in this particular thing.
For anyone listening out there, Gene, literally all the items that he just listed, he pulled up. Like, he's got it all on his desk. He's got the pickles. He's got, 2 yogurts. So I just wanted everyone to know, if you're listening to this and not watching us here on YouTube, he has all of those in front of him. So, Amanda, what was your prep like? I mean, you've done this before, so I feel like, you should be farther along than us, to be honest.
Some people might think because I'm a Saints fan that I like pain, and they would be wrong. And some people might think because I'm from Louisiana that I love hot, spicy food, and they would be wrong. Mm-hmm. I have done this once before when I lost my home league in 2022, I believe. Don't want to talk about it, but it's 3 wings, increasing heat. We got this. Gene, I think this is what in the business we call a warm welcome. Okay. Happy to have you here.
I love it. I'm happy to be on the show. I'm just happy that, you finally embraced me into this womanhood that is the Untitled, secretly named. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. It's just a secret name that I gave it.
I love it.
I love that name.
If anyone has any name suggestion, we're still Untitled, by the way, Untitled with Kendall and Amanda. So, if you guys have any names, you can drop them down in the comments below. But guys, like I said, we're going to get into it. We've got 4 quarters here, Gene, as you know, and then we have a fun overtime coming up. So everyone wants to stick around for that, just to see our reactions alone. We're going to go through different levels of hot sauce. We've got 2 out of 10, 5 out of 10, and then, 100,000 out of 10. The last one is going to be pretty brutal. But before we get into it, we have to get through a little bit of news here that's come throughout the week. So we're going to go through Did You Hear, presented by Bud Light. All right, it's Did You Hear, presented by Bud Light, and we've got a pretty good amount of news to get through, so I'll lead this one off, guys, and I'll lead these 3 big news pieces here. So, Amanda, I'm going to start with you on this, and then, Gene, get your thoughts. Did you hear, and this has been about a little less than a week ago, Trey McBride became the highest paid tight end of all time. He knocks off Travis Kelce, who was the last one to have that. Travis Kelce used to have $17.125 million average per year for a tight end. And now Trey McBride comes in. He gets the extension worth $76 million, $43 million guaranteed, and he gets the $19 million annual average there. So what was your first reaction when you heard that, Amanda?
I absolutely love it. I feel like every offseason there's somebody we're advocating for that needs to get paid. I love when players that are the focal point of their offense get the money they deserve, and Trey McBride is that guy. I mean, you look at what he did last year, 111 receptions for over 1,000 yards. 2 touchdowns, but that doesn't matter, especially if you're playing PPR. And I've been a tight end proponent on this show multiple weeks in a row, so I love it. I think that Arizona is going to continue to rely on him at this point. And if you look at his past games, fantasy-wise, I think he had 9 games, top 5 tight end or better finishes with those 2 touchdowns. So that's really what it is. He's catching balls and he's making things happen. He doesn't even need to be in the end zone.
I was going to say, Gene, it's so funny to look at what Trey McBride did last season because you're like, oh, he led in tight ends in targets per route run. He led in team targets, receiving first downs. He was second in receiving yards, receptions, receiving yards per game. And then, Gene, all we got out of that was 2 touchdowns. He had a phenomenal season for us in fantasy. But do you expect maybe some positive regression from Trey McBride? Is he your, tight end 2 overall in drafts this year? Or do you think he could knock off Brock Bowers?
Yeah, see, first off, congratulations to him and anybody as a former tight end. Anytime tight ends are getting paid, I'm just wondering how Jimmy Graham's feeling, right? Jimmy Graham at one time was used like a wide receiver and they made him get paid like a tight end. I'm pretty sure that he's saying, man, I really wish this was around when I came. Am I right, Amanda? Because it's phenomenal, the type of money that these guys are getting. I also say, if he's getting that kind of money, what are you going to have to pay Brock Bowers in like another 2 years when he comes up on the extension? It's going to be the first $100+ million contract that we see as long as he continues to go up that trajectory. But as far as what I look at for him, I just think that he is who he is. I don't think he's dynamic. I think he's solid. And sometimes solid is good enough, right? But he's not the guy that's going to catch the hitch route, turn around and run for another 40, 50 yards on a regular basis. That's just not how he gets down, because if it was, then those 100+ receptions would have turned into 12 and 13 and 1,400 yards, because that's what a guy like Kelsey was doing in his prime, right? And so I think he's going to still be good, but it leaves room for those receivers that really know how to do something after the catch, something dynamic after the catch. And it leaves room for those tight ends that just know how to find the end zone.
He's been good for the Cardinals. That's the thing. Like, he was drafted in 2002, right? He has the 4th most receptions and yards among tight ends since then. So the players ahead of him, like, I don't know if this, but like, it's Kelsey, it's Evan Ingram, and then it's TJ Hawkinson. So those are like really good names to be around, at least 2 of them. So I don't know. I still think Trey McBride he's obviously going to be the guy. He's 25 years old. They paid him for a reason. But, I'm curious too, like, Amanda, when we have all these rumors that, okay, so Trey McBride got paid, Marvin Harrison Jr. didn't live up to expectations last season. So if he takes a step up, and Amanda, there are rumors that they're ready to take another wide receiver in this year's draft too. Like, does that make you a little bit worried about McBride?
I mean, at this point, it doesn't, just because you look at how much they had to rely on him. I think he is kind of that safety net. Let's say Marvin Harrison Jr. can start to open up the field and get them further down with these big passing plays, then maybe we'll see McBride get a couple touchdowns there with his 3-yard, 5-yard catches,
Let's just have more touchdowns than 2 from last year. Let's just ask for that. Congratulations to Trey McBride, but some more touchdowns for us in fantasy football. Please, we're begging you. All right, next up here in Did You Hear? Gene, I know I have to start with you because I cannot wait to hear your thoughts on looking at Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe is one of 13 players invited to attend this year's NFL draft in Green Bay. Gene, does this mean that Jalen Milroe is getting drafted in the first round on draft night, or is he going to be another Will Levis sitting there with his family, his girlfriend's there, and everyone's looking around like, why are we here? What's going on? What's your take?
Yeah, I don't think that Jalen Milroe was invited because they believe he's going to be a first-round pick. Although I wouldn't necessarily be mad if he ends up in the bottom half of the first round or the back end of the first round, because you want to try to get that 5th year as you develop him along those lines. I think he's been brought in for drama, but I think he knows, hey, there's a pretty good chance you're not going to be first round, but because Shedeur Sanders isn't going to be there, I don't think Cam Ward's going to be there. A lot of the names that you would normally see going that have like a buzz about them, they're not going. They're going to have their own things going on. And shout out to them for not wanting to go to Green Bay to have, I mean, come on, you went from New York City and Chicago and these places that are dynamic, great cities to Green Bay, where the nearest good hotel is like an hour and a half away. Now, come on, what are we doing right now? So I'm not surprised. Somebody had to go. And fortunately enough, Jalen Milroe said yes.
Not Green Bay catching strays with the first time Gene's on here. Sorry, Green Bay Packers fans. I mean, Jake, so sorry about that. We'll talk to him afterwards. Amanda, Jalen Milroe, I mean, what do you think? We've talked a little bit and broken down the draft, but like, do you think he's going to go first round, or is this for the drama?
I mean, I like Gene's take here. I hadn't thought of it that way. I'm more in the camp of Bo Nix last year, where nobody thought he was going round one and maybe somebody's going to have a shock. Is it possible that he's like the Steelers insurance policy, that they're still not sure what's happening with Rodgers, and even if they do get him, maybe they see him as a bridge quarterback, and so they want to have Milroe there? I don't know, but you look at his last 3 games of the season and it just didn't end well. I think he had like a 54% completion rate. He had 5 interceptions. So he didn't end on a good note. And I could see Gene's point that maybe they sent out a lot of invites and he's the one that said, hey, I'll be there. And so he's going to show up. But the Bo Nix situation was so strange last season that I think anything could happen.
I mean, listen, you said it. It's kind of been Gene in a free fall. Like his pre-draft process has not been good. We were hoping that maybe at the Senior Bowl it was going to be better, at the Combine, whatever. Over his last 9 games in 2024, right? Milroe had 6 touchdowns and 10 interceptions, and Alabama was a 5-4 finish in that span. So, do you believe that Jalen Milroe could be a project? Like, if he lands, Gene, to you, what is the right spot where he could land, and you say, all right, he's a project. Maybe he could get better in a couple years.
Well, first off, I think it's unfair that we only ever look at those that last little portion of the year. We usually don't add in the rushing aspect. And if we're talking about fantasy right now, you have somebody that is elite level as a runner with the football, a guy who knows how to get into the end zone, a guy who understands how to read. But I can't get past the fact that same Jalen Milroe that everybody says can't throw had over 300 yards and several touchdowns versus the University of Georgia, one of the best defenses, like known to man, with a team full of guys who are all going to play on Sundays. So for me, I say not only is he a developmental prospect, but if you got into a jam and had to put a package together for him to play right now, he could probably operate on some type of level. I think we've seen now, you don't have to be a quarterback that puts up 300 plus yards passing in order to be effective in the real game. And you don't have to be a quarterback that puts up 300 yards passing in order to be effective in fantasy. So I think from both aspects, Milroe has a chance if he lands in the right place with an offensive coordinator that's willing to use his skill set to do what he needs to do in order to be successful.
He's athletic and he's got a big arm. It's just when you look at it, all the inaccuracies that we see from him. And that's something I think, Gene, I agree. Like in the right system with the right amount of patience, like teams need to be patient with someone like this, that it could potentially work out with Jalen Milroe. So we'll see. We'll see if it's a drama or if we'll see if he's going to actually go in the first round. Last one here, Amanda, going to start with you. Steelers. It's not your Saints. I'm sorry, but we are going to talk about them here in a little bit. Did you hear the Steelers are bringing in basically every quarterback that they can for top 30 visits to hopefully maybe find their next quarterback? I can't imagine, Amanda, and I'm sorry, Steelers fans, this is going to be a little bit of a shot, but it's not at you. Can you imagine having to wait on your franchise to wait on a decision from Aaron Rodgers? And then they say, well, if we don't get that, then we're going to have some of these guys come in. But they've hosted, Shedeur Sanders. They've got Jackson Dart in there. I think Shuck also came in there as well. So they've got a lot of guys coming in. What do you think of that?
I mean, I think you nailed it. I think Rodgers is playing chicken and he's forcing their hand at this point to check out everybody in the field to see what might happen depending on whether he makes a decision beforehand or not, how early they want to draft a quarterback based on that decision. I mean, look, they have other draft needs as well. We know that Najee Harris is gone, but they did have 8 of their 30 pre-draft visits on running back. So I wonder are they focusing on at least checking out the player pool, figuring out what it's going to be, and then waiting to see what Aaron Rodgers does? Or are they just going to pull the trigger on it? At this point, I don't think as a fan that I would want to wait on his decision. So yeah, go for it. Go QB in round 1.
Gene, do you think the pre-draft visits are more clues about what Pittsburgh's willing to do in a couple weeks?
I think a lot of it is a smokescreen for the fact that they are praying that Shedeur Sanders drops all the way to 27. I think, or 21, excuse me. I think that when you look at the way this thing is unfolding, if the Giants don't take him at 3, it becomes does Amanda Saints do they take him? Do the Raiders take him and stash him away for a couple years while they wait out the Geno years? Like I don't see that coming. I think if he drops to the Steelers, look out. That's what they want to happen.
Ooh, that would be a crazy drop, but we're going to talk about it here. As you can hear, we've got the timer going. We've gotten way better at this though, Gene, because usually Amanda and I were having to get kicked off like at the Oscars. They're telling us to rap in our ears, but we've gotten way better with the timing. So shout out to the three of us. All right, that was, before we get going here, that was Did You Hear, presented by Bud Light. Okay, fantasy football fans, sure, NFL season may be long over, but next season's action is already well underway. We're talking big trades, new signings, draft order shuffles, you name it. And all this preseason NFL action is easier to enjoy with the official beer of the NFL. So get Bud Light delivered today and enjoy every season projection, every player trade, every coaching change, and draft pick with the clean, crisp taste of Bud Light, the official beer of the NFL. Stock up now for the offseason and enjoy Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. All right, you guys, it's time now. We've gone through everything that we needed to go through. It is time for the second quarter and the start of our NFL draft hot takes. We're at level 1. So we've got our hot sauce here. We all have the same hot sauce, by the way. So I want people to know that this is going to be the same level for everyone. I also wanted people to know, Amanda, before we get started, you wanted us to have this on 24 hours prior. You wanted us to be in so much pain. I just wanted people to know. She said, "Do you want to douse it?" I said, "No, absolutely not. I don't." Thank you so much, though.
I think the verb I used was drenched. Yeah, I said drenched. Are you drenching your chicken now or later? And they didn't want to pre-drench everyone, so I want to let you know that I do judge them a little bit, but it is what it is. And Gene, look, welcome to the show. Now get ready to burn. You get to go with your first hot take.
Yes.
Lay it on.
And we all have to do this though at the same time. So I will say I did drench this though. Do you see all that? That is pretty good.
I'm putting a coating. I'm putting a nice little coating on mine.
Oh,
so that everybody can see.
No, I'm kidding. This is classic, by the way. Hot level 2 out of 10. So you guys ready to take a bite? Here we go.
Yes.
I think also, Kendall, we have to take bites as we do ours too. So just be prepared.
What are you talking about? No, we don't.
I think we do.
No
Look,
way.
by the way, my chicken, I don't know if it's red. Do you see that red?
Mine's drenched. No, we see it. We believe you.
All right.
I love that. All right, team.
Yes.
As my mouth is full, this is great for a podcast. Thanks, Matt Swing, for this idea. Okay, what is your first hot take for the NFL draft?
Okay, so my first hot take is that 3 running backs, not one, not just Ashton Jeanty, not 2, but 3 running backs will be taken in the first round of the draft, and I think that there will be 7 running backs taken in the first 2 rounds of the draft.
Wow, 7?
7
in the first 2 rounds. Okay. All right. So if you so I need to ask to just kind of get through here. So if you think 3 running backs are taken in the first round of the draft, I kind of want to know your rankings, because we know Dwayne McFarland Supermodel is live at fantasylife.com. Thor has his rankings out as well. So who are the 3 running backs that you think are going to go?
So I think for sure Jeanty and Omarion Hampton go in the first round. But then there becomes well, what do these guys do? Quinshon Judkins is a guy I think is a prime candidate for that 3rd spot. But then there's other backs that if they like them more, I could see them, popping up. Some people are really big on Caleb Johnson, and his running style and how it transitions to the NFL. So he might be a guy that sneaks his way into the first round. Some people are looking at dudes that just light up the scoreboard. So if you're looking for a speed guy, there are speed guys there. If you're looking for power guys, there are power guys there. I think that what we'll see is somebody will get nervous about the second round and saying we don't have another pick until too late, and they might jump up to get that 3rd guy.
I mean, Amanda, you and I have talked about this running back class a lot, whether it's with the spinning wheel that we do or whatever, but this is a really deep running back class. So I feel like, Gene, you saying that, I mean, 7 in the first 2 rounds, you think about it and you're like, wow, that's a lot. But just for, Amanda, how deep this draft class could be for the running backs, it could actually happen.
Correct. I think there's that 50-50 side of it too. I'm still kind of in on, are the Steelers going to take a running back? I know Gene's saying he thinks it's a smoke screen. They're going to go quarterback, but using 8 of their 30 pre-draft picks to look at them, and we know Najee's not there. Now maybe they go second, third round with running back picks. I still think it would be fun to see Denver wait, and it maybe isn't Omarion Hampton, just because we talked a few weeks ago about how they really aren't desperate at any position, so they can kind of do whatever they want. And we know Sean Payton likes to make trades, do some crazy stuff. So I'm curious to see what happens there. But I feel like once that first trade goes off the board and something unexpected happens, then everything's off. You don't know what's going to go. So Gene, as much as this is a hot take, I like it, and I think it'd be super exciting.
I think it's more on the spicy side. I don't, it's not hot as in unbearable. It's hot as in, this is a good heat. This is maybe even a sweet heat.
How'd you like the first hot sauce, G? I thought that was actually very good. I might use that in my everyday life. Yeah, that was not bad, Amanda.
Can you see I'm getting a little pink?
Are you
a little pink in the cheeks? Is it just
me? I won't lie. It's warm.
I'm not great with hot sauces, guys, but I'm going to dip in for the next one because we're moving on to mine. And so I guess am I going to do this with my mouth full? I think
it's like an ASMR.
Ashton Jeanty falls out of the top 6. Lock it in. And here's why.
Falls out of the top 6. I'm giving you time to chew, and then we can, Gene and I are reacting to it. Are we taking another one? All right, Amanda. Why do you think so? Falls out of the top 6. That means for the Las Vegas Raiders and they pass on him.
So right now, I think if anybody's locked in to the rookies, see when you get that third bite in, it does start to kick. I'm sorry, guys. I will start to get red. Okay. I think that what's going to happen here, the Raiders need cornerback. Like, I know everyone thinks this is the way it's going to go, but if you look at their needs, it's possible because they cut Jack Jones recently. This is spicy for me. They cut Jack Jones recently. And then, like you said, there's a loaded running back draft class. So if it's loaded, it's not as though we have this one guy that's top tier. That's the only one we can go get if I'm looking for running back to fill that spot on my roster. They have the ability to wait and maybe booster up other areas that they need. They do need to transform their defense a little bit. They might go for a guy like Jalen Walker. Maybe they go with, I don't know. I can't even think right now. But at this point, I do think they need cornerback more than they need running back. And so that's my hot take. I think they could pass on him. Maybe he falls to the Bears at 110. More than likely, and if he falls even further, I don't think he goes past the Cowboys. I think they would take him if he fell further.
You're just saying the Bears because Matt Swing is on this, producer Swing is on this, and he's a Bears fan. So I respect that because you don't want him to ask us to do this again. So I think that's a really good idea there, Amanda. But I mean, Gene, for Ashton Jeanty, this is another guy that has been, people have said he is generational. He is in a tier of his own with these running back rankings. I think this is actually a very hot take, Amanda, because I would be shocked if he was able to make it past the Raiders. Pete Carroll has built around a backfield before, and we've seen that, Gene. So how spicy do you think this take is?
It's a spicy take, but it's a take that makes a lot of sense if you're saying that this is the deepest draft that we've seen, right? Like I think the problem with the word deep means there's a lot of them, but it's not just deep. It's deep and talented, and there's different types of guys. So like, do the Raiders want to go Ashton Jeanty, or do they want to wait until the second round and go Damian Martinez, or the third round and go Damian Martinez, wherever he might fall? Like one of those other big backs that seem to just have kind of like a ballerina-like effect when they're running the ball. It remains to be seen. I think it's a hot take because a lot of people will give it backlash if that's what happens, which is really funny because just 2 or 3 years ago, 2 years ago, they were just bashing the Detroit Lions because they took a running back high up in the draft when they took Jahmyr Gibbs, even though he was my number 1 back on the board in that year. So I think it's really interesting when we see how these things come about, especially when you're talking about, hey, you need a position. That position happens to have a guy who people believe is generational. There you go.
There you go. All right. It's my turn now. I've re-drenched this. Thanks, Amanda. Was it drenched? Was that the word you used?
That was the word.
All right. As I talk with my mouth full, again, so sorry to everyone only listening on audio. I'm trying not to do this. My hot take here, and I switched this, but my hot take is that the 49ers are going to draft CMC's replacement in Cam Scatterboo. Now, I don't mean round one. I do think that the 49ers could draft someone in round one, and I think that that could maybe be Travion Henderson, but I'm going with Cam Scatterboo. Forks up. That's my hot take as I chew.
Okay, so let me say this. First of all, Kendall, I don't hate it. I think I'm kind of like where Coach is here, that it's spicy, but it makes sense if you look at it. We know that Thor Nystrom, who's been covering all of our rookie stuff, he has the 2-round mock draft that just came out. He was saying that the 49ers currently have 11 picks, which is seemingly absurd, but he's been told he's heard that they are looking to make some flashy moves, maybe move out in round one and get some guys like Warren. But if they're looking to be flashy, they have all these picks available to them that some teams don't. They have the freedom to make something happen here. And I don't hate the idea of having a replacement or at least a backup in the event that CMC is injured again and moving to Scatterboo.
And we never want injuries. Listen, we never want injuries, but we saw, Gene, what happened last season. And Amanda, like it was so bad. Fantasy managers were just, I mean, they lost him in the first game coming in. So then they get rid of Jordan Mace, or not get rid of, but he goes to the Minnesota Vikings. So on the depth chart, you've got Patrick Taylor and you've got Isaac Grendo, who were both, they were both great. Scatterboo, though, is a workhorse. And I will say to anyone listening, I am a biased Arizona State fan. So you can take that for what it's worth. But he carried the ball 293 times for a Big 12 leading in school record, 1,711 yards. We saw what he was able to do. I was at that game against Texas. They should have won that game. He's just got this large frame. He's a ground and pound type, Gene. So I just think, if they're not going to take someone in the first round, which that's what the rumor is right now. Again, I think that would be more Travion Henderson than anyone else. You wait and you get Cam Scatterboo, who I think is going to be a steal in this draft.
Yeah, I think Travion Henderson is another one that I didn't mention before because I really love Judkins, but another guy who has an opportunity to jump into that first round, maybe in the back end. It's interesting that you chose Scatterboo, and I don't know if it was your Arizona State bias or not. It was. If you're trying to replace a guy who is a threat as a receiver and a threat as a runner, I don't know if Cam Scatterboo is the guy you're going after. If you're just looking for a guy who can carry the load, then absolutely. Because even back to his time at Sacramento State, Cam Scatterboo was carrying the ball like it was going out of style. So from that standpoint, absolutely. And I think the fact that he's only 5'9" and 220 pounds helps, because those guys who are compact tend to avoid a lot of the injuries that some of the taller, longer backs end up having, because they don't get hit everywhere. So it's got a little kick to it. A
little kick. And listen, he needs to work, yes, as a receiver, it needs to be a little bit better there. And like I said, ground and pound, he's a bowling ball. If you look at that is a bowling ball, and that is what Cam Scatterboo is. So a complete role, like you said, like for CMC, probably wouldn't happen. But I'm just thinking, listen, I'm trying to get as much Cam Scatterboo as I can this offseason. And so that's where I'm thinking that he could potentially go. All right, we've got our level 1 done, guys. So as we transition, get your next hot sauce out. We're going to heat level 5 of 10. We're going to quarter 3 hot take level 2. I'm going to be honest, guys. I'm not excited about this.
Nope.
My lips are all.
My lips are burning from
just
one.
when I opened it up, I went, ooh.
Because I poured this before the last one, and I've been smelling it ever since. So are we drenching? Are we drowning? Is everyone good to go? I think we
can. All right. You don't have to, Gene. You're a guest.
It's a darker.
You don't have to.
It's a darker hue.
It's dark. Here, should I do like an ASMR
hue, which
thing?
makes me more nervous. Makes me more. If you can see, if you're watching, you can see how dark it is on there. Like, wow.
Oh.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. Yeah. And Kendall, I think you're up next. Are you first up while you are trying to process?
I don't know
the heat
who I did.
This?
I don't know who I pissed off to be first in this one. This is a good one though. This is again heat level 5 of 10. How you doing, Gene? You okay?
I'm okay. Okay.
Perfect. As I try to distract everyone. Oh wow. Yeah, that's spicy, and I love spice. So I was excited for this, but that's a good one. All right.
This is actually good flavor, by the way. The flavor of this isn't bad, but ooh. Like
Amanda tweeted out. Amanda tweeted it out, by the way, so you guys can all go and follow her at Cooterdoodle, of course. You already know that by now. So you can go and check out what hot sauces we're using. But All right, time to get into it. I wrote this article today. So my hot take, spicy level 2, is that Travis Hunter is going to outperform all rookie wide receivers after he's drafted by the Cleveland Browns. So I thought this was a little bit spicy because right now, guys, we don't know if Travis Hunter is going to be able to be a cornerback full-time, wide receiver full-time, or if he truly is going to get that split right down the middle. So I wrote an article today. I want everyone to go and check it out. But it was kind of going through the projections if he was drafted by the New York Giants, the New England Patriots, and then the Cleveland Browns. And I think the Cleveland Browns, for a fantasy perspective, is the best place that he could go if he doesn't make it past, if he doesn't fall after the top 4, which I don't think he will. So his projections, let me give you that really quick. If he had a 90% route participation, 23% targets per route run, projected to finish with 1,011 yards, Gene, and 6.3 touchdowns, 12.6 fantasy points per game. So I think, as people have called him the Shohei Ohtani of the NFL coming in, I just think that he's a really good prospect in a weak wide receiver class that he would be going, if he was only going to play full-time wide receiver, Gene, he would be ahead of Teteroa McMillan. What do you think?
I think that this is a hot take that I love to consume. I think that anytime he gets in as a wide receiver, the plan is to get him the ball. And so I think he could have a much less target share than some other wide receivers that are rookies, but his production be so much higher because they're targeting him specifically every single time he's in the game. So like, just because he doesn't get as many routes or because he doesn't get as many targets, he's going to have much more fruitful targets than some of these other guys who are catching hitches and slants and getting tackled. I don't think that'll be the way that he's used. So even if he's playing cornerback and only coming to be like the wide receiver 3 on a team, he can still get enough get enough action to warrant major numbers in fantasy. I think that's something that a lot of people are missing when they think about him on both sides of the ball.
Amanda?
Excuse me, I have a question. Who's going to throw the ball to him?
Okay, that's what I was gonna say next. This is why we're co-hosts together, because I will say first and foremost, like the Browns, when Dwayne McFarland, shout out to him, he gave me these projections and help with this article. So this is all hoping that they have someone other than Kenny Pickett throwing him the ball. So these are the best case scenarios for fantasy football. And like I said, 90% route participation, 23% target share, over 1,000 yards for him, but they have to go out and get someone else. So Amanda, tell me who's throwing them the ball? Because if they go and get him, that's the second overall pick. That means that they're saying, you know what, we're passing on quarterback. I wrote up that maybe they go get a veteran. Not saying it's the best, but Kirk Cousins is out there and he's got a link to Stefanski, and that's someone that they could bring in. Again, it's not sexy, but better than Kenny Pickett, I guess. What do you think?
Right. And I keep looking back at Malik Neighbors, and look, he didn't have a quarterback last season and he did just fine, right? So it could be okay. It could be okay, but it makes me uncomfortable thinking that they take him and they still aren't sure what they're going to do at the. Are you okay, Kendall? I see you fanning yourself
warm,
over
all right?
there.
It's warm, all right? I've got no airflow. The lights are bright. The spicy level is hot. We're okay. We're doing good. Gene, and I'll take another bite with you, Gene, here, but it's your turn for another bite of the hot sauce. And go ahead.
Absolutely. I will say though, Kenny Pickett's rookie season with the Steelers, he had 3 guys that were 700 plus, yards. And so even if it's Kenny Pickett, he might have just enough to make a guy like Travis Hunter viable. For me, I'm staying at wide receiver. My hot take here is that Tat McMillan is going to be a lot closer to Mike Williams than he is Mike Evans.
Oh, Gene, that's just for anyone. I mean, everyone knows, like, that's horrible. Tat McMillan is supposed to be the wide receiver 1 in this class. Again, if it wasn't for Travis Hunter potentially having that split, I mean, Gene, he's the guy in a class, Gene, that's already weak. Are you okay? I'm trying to talk so that you don't have to. Amanda, this is a spicy take. Gene's not doing well. We're gonna take over
while he's processing and coughing, and and the heat is spreading within his palate. I mean, it is a tall order, right? If you're saying that he's going to be Mike Evans, the Mike Evans of this class. I mean, look at the numbers, 11 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. plenty of years with double-digit touchdowns, most years with 75, 85 catches. So it is a tall order. I think that many of us are hoping that that is something that he can fill. He can be that Mike Evans role for wherever he ends up. However, I do want to hear your side, Gene, of like, what are the cons here? Is it because of where you think he's going to be drafted? Is it because you think that we're, not looking at something that we should be, where there's something in the background that, should be scaring us?
Well, I think that we should all be aware of the fact that he's not that explosive. He's just not that explosive. He's a big body receiver who has relied on a lot of targets, a ton of targets. And God bless him. Like he's done the job he's supposed to do. But in the NFL, is that going to translate? Comparing him to Mike Evans, who essentially made a guy a Heisman Trophy just by throwing him the ball and letting him get busy after the catch. I just don't see that being the same. Mike Evans was elite level explosive when he came out of Texas A&M. He wasn't just a target merchant. He was a guy who you sent deep. You threw it to him, and that's who he was early in his career. He has transitioned into somebody that's been more of a possession guy, but even then, he'll still beat you over the top. I don't know if Ted McMillan has that in his game on a regular basis when you get to the NFL, and that was the problem with Mike Williams. Mike Williams was very productive at USC. He had a lot of targets, but when you got to the NFL, he just was not able to separate on a regular basis to be able to have enough confidence to get the ball to him. So I don't know if that's going to be the case for Ted McMillan as well. He may just end up being like a glorified possession receiver, like a really big possession receiver. I don't even know if can he be Marcus Colston, right? Can he be
just a guy?
Colston type?
Just a guy, Gene, for Ted McMillan? Oh, that's a hot take, and I like that.
Let me ask this. Kendall was just saying that if Travis Hunter would declare that he is only a wide receiver, he would be the wide receiver one. Would you still say that even with the multi-designation of Travis Hunter, you put him ahead of Ted McMillan? Or no? Am I
if I
putting
know
words
that
in your
he's going to
mouth?
play, if I know that he's going to play both ways, yes. Like if you tell me, hey, he's going to be a cornerback and he's going to get 60% of the snaps at the wide receiver, I still think he gets more explosives than Ted McMillan will.
Okay. All right. That's a hot take. I like that one. I like that. All right, Amanda, it's your turn. So I'm going to let you, get your chicken done.
I did sneak a little bite when Gene was talking, just because I was trying to be, a better radio host here. But my hot take, and if you have been a listener, which I know everyone listening right now is, and they agree, we have been saying that Tyler Warren is the rookie tight end, and we've been, at least I have been glorifying Tyler Warren and these rookie tight ends show after show after show. I think Tyler Warren will be the new Kyle Pitts. And Kendall, that might shock you. I don't know if you're right. After everything I've been saying,
you have 100 shares of him already. What are you going to do with them?
I know, but look, maybe it's just this psychological thing where I'm trying to protect myself because I know I'm going to draft a ton of him, and maybe I shouldn't go all in on a rookie tight end this year, even though I want to. But as I look at it, Andrew Cooper, who's at Coop A Fiasco on Twitter, said that a tight end with a first-round ADP has never finished as a top 12 overall player. And that hit me there right in the gut. And so I started looking at it, and I'm looking at Kyle Pitts' stats over the years, and in 2021, he had over 1,000 yards, but he had 28 catches in 2022, 53 in 2023, 47 in 2024, only a couple touchdowns here and there, around 600 yards. And I think that might be potentially where Warren falls. Right now, they're saying most people are thinking that he might land with the Jets. And let's look, I'm not trying to say Tyler Conklin is the same as Tyler Warren. But you look at that usage, and it is more of the Kyle Pitts usage there. He had 51 catches for, less than 500 yards last year with Aaron Rodgers. Same thing the year before. But, I just think I need to temper my expectations at this point. Is this too crazy?
Yeah, it's crazy because, like I said, you love him. It's crazy. It's insane. I mean, because for the past 2 years, it's spicy. Because for the past 2 years, we've had a Sam Laporta, we've had a Brock Bowers, and now this is a class where they say is a great tight end class as well. You've got not only Tyler Warren, you've got Colston Loveland, Harold Fannin. We have to mention him as well. So you don't think he's gonna? What? So do you like Colston Loveland now more than him?
No, I'm just trying to protect myself, okay? I'm just trying to protect myself. And I've been so adamant about how much I love Tyler Warren that I feel like I do have to at least consider the flip side here, that it could be just another painful round of Kyle Pitts years to come.
You're sabotaging
like
the relationship before you have a chance to have the relationship.
That's crazy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I think a therapist would call that unhealthy.
That's hot.
That's okay. That's okay. Well, speaking of hot, guys, the timer went off. I was hoping that it actually never would, and that they would just forget about it and we'd be able to stay at level 2 forever. But it is now time. Quarter 4. We're in the 4th quarter here. NFL draft hot takes, level 3. Let's get into it.
Number 3. And guys, I am drenching.
What?
I'm letting you know I'm opening up all of the things to be able to combat this right now.
So let me tell everyone. Oh, I can smell it. Let me tell everyone.
Oh my God.
I just took the top off.
Did you already eat it? Amanda.
Yeah, I did.
Oh my gosh.
She's an Amazon.
This is last one. All right. Did you drench? I didn't even see it.
Mm-hmm.
She's an Amazon.
Okay. I want everyone to know. Everything before this did not matter. This is the precipice.
Oh God. Oh gosh.
So I'm kind of glad that I got here first.
Thick. It's thicker too.
It's really bad. I'm gonna rock and roll through this.
There it is.
So my hot take is, oh my God, my tongue is tingling. My hot take is that Shedeur Sanders is gonna go to the Saints, and the craziest part about it is not that I'm breaking a sweat. It's the fact that it's not even as hot as it was like 48 hours ago. This rumor is picking up steam, and it's really starting to piss me off because you look at the draft books, they have the Saints as favorites. They're saying that the over of pick 8.5, which would be the 109, the Saints, is favored. Deion Sanders is saying that he would like to see his son go there. My heart rate is up, and I don't know if it's because I hate this draft pick or if it's from the sauce.
We need medical on site. Keep going.
But I need you guys to hear me. Okay. The Saints have a defense that is old. I don't know if I can curse. It's old, okay? They don't have Marshawn Lattimore anymore. Everyone is wiggling in their seats. They don't have Marshawn Lattimore anymore. Alvin Kamara is aging up there. He sometimes seems unhappy with his tweets. Kendre Miller has injuries. We know Olave had injuries, and he was upset with Carr in the concussions last year. So in Saints fashion, it would only make sense that the Saints, with all of these needs all over the roster, that of course they would spend their 109 pick on a quarterback when we already have Derek Carr, Spencer Rattler, Jake Haener, and Ben DiNucci, and we're paying Carr money. And it just seems like the perfect Mickey Loomis move. That's what I think we're going to do. And I hate that this rumor is actually not even as hot as it was when I typed this in 12 hours ago.
Amanda, I heard nothing you just said. But I agree. And I am not taking another bite of that.
I'll do it for the bit. I'm looking at the Saints depth chart right now. I want everybody to Google it after the show. Or if you have a second browser, don't close this. I need you to look. There are so many red questionable marks next to our players. And that summarizes our season last year. We had so many injuries. At some point, I felt like we were the Lions. I know even Sean Payton at one point kind of gave a jab to us that it's a coaching issue to have this many injuries. And I just think that we should do better, be better. But I just don't have faith. I think the Saints are going to go Sanders 109.
I don't hate it though, to be honest. Okay, I'm feeling. It doesn't go away. Are you good, Gene? How you doing?
Yeah,
my tongue is.
Everything in here is like on fire. I thought Amanda had I thought Amanda was joking, like when she said everything else. I thought she was just playing it up. No.
No.
Like I keep salivating, like liquid keeps filling in my jowls as I try to talk.
Glands.
Oh my gosh!
Just tell me this. Tell me this, Coach. Yeah. Do I need to be worried? Like, am I letting my bias hit me? Okay. Okay.
No, you should be worried. But it'll be one of those things where right now it'll hurt, but it'll feel better later. right?
Are we talking? Are we
right
talking
now,
about Shedeur Sanders, or are we talking about
Yes.
this? Oh,
No, we're talking
It's
about
like it
Shedeur
does
Sanders. We're
This
talking
is
about
poetic,
Shedeur Sanders.
so it'll hurt now.
Yeah,
In the now, but in the future.
It was a hot take before, but I've been saying that I thought that New Orleans should try to get a quarterback in this draft. But you make a great point. There's really no room for them to draft a quarterback right now with all of the needs they have. However, if you're going to get a quarterback, getting Shedeur Sanders to come in, he's a guy who doesn't need a superstar wide receiver. That's the misnomer about him with Hunter, is he made all of those wide receivers look phenomenal at Colorado. He made all the wide receivers look phenomenal at Jackson State. He understands how to get the ball into the hands of the playmakers. I think that'd be great for a Saints team that's bringing in a head coach who understands how to groom a quarterback. He's played the position, and he knows what it's supposed to look like. So I think from that standpoint, when you put Shedeur Sanders, in a position with a stable quarterback coach and a stable head coach, it might not be a bad place to be. I'm sorry, I'm trying to put words together. It's really hard.
Well, it's my turn now. So
Shahid is safe.
ahead.
Okay, that's all I needed. Shahid is safe.
That's
Move
all
on.
that's all that matters. Is
take another
anyone going to
bite.
do this again with me here? Okay.
Okay, all right.
Drink one.
I can't get shown up by
Can I
the
swear?
ladies.
Can I swear?
Oh gosh, it was.
I think
bad
the
first
producers
time.
said that the budget allows one F-bomb per person. All right,
This is
Kendall.
awful. All right, my hot
This
take.
is level 3. What you got?
Okay, my hot take is happening. And that is to say, that I don't think this is like every day. When I look at this, I could say this every year since 2002. The Green Bay Packers select a wide receiver first round. And I don't think that is spicy to me, because they haven't done it since 2002. So, excuse me, sorry for everyone just listening and just having to hear that. But I just have to say, Green Bay's pass catchers right now, not great. And they already had Christian Watson go down. He is not going to come back he is probably, in my opinion, not going to come back for the 2025 season, just because of how late that injury was. If he does come back, that's great. Happy for him. But you do not want to be drafting him this year. It's going to be in late November going into December, and maybe he goes on a run, but I don't think you want to bet on that. So when I look at this team and I say, all right, they're going to draft a first round wide receiver, I'm looking at Emeka Egbuka, because he is a polished route runner. I really like him. I think that's also the wide receiver that's going to be around there at their pick. Now, here's where I make this spicier, because I felt like when I was looking at this rundown, I was like, that's not spicy enough. If they don't want to do that, they go out and they trade for Tyreek Hill before this or on NFL draft night. But they go out and get a wide receiver. They go out, and I was going to say either him, or I was looking at other guys, but like George Pickens, I think George Pickens could still potentially be drafted or could be traded on draft night. I'm saying words. It's just like word vomit right now. But if they don't do that, they have to get some more help in there. They can't just say, yeah, we're good with Dontavian Wicks. We're good with Reed. I like those guys. Let's get some more help in there. Let's add to this wide receiver room. If it's not Tyreek Hill traded, they go get Emeka Egbuka.
But you know who else
what's
agrees
your-
with you?
Who?
Oh, sorry.
No, go
Josh
ahead.
Jacob agrees with you. Josh Jacob
Yes.
agrees. He said, I think we need a guy that's proven to be a number 1 wide receiver already. And that's how I hear it. Like, oh, already. He's so over it, Kendall. The wide
I'm
receiver
over it.
core in Green Bay last year had more total drops. I can't even read my stats. They had a lot of drops. Their drop rate led. Their drop rate was the top in the league at 8.4%. They led the league. The wide receivers are struggling, just like we are. They need to boost it up. So I don't hate it. And I'm sorry, when even your running back is saying, "Hey, we need a guy to be that guy for us," that's bad. We need to get Jordan Love some help. And I even on like icing on the cake. Aaron Rodgers for so long wanted that wide receiver 1 and wanted them to spend those draft picks. So I think it would be even more fun if they do it again for Jordan Love.
Gene, I hate to say it. All right, can you do one more? Can we all do one more?
One more bite.
Okay. All right.
And then
One more, last one.
I'm gonna tell you though,
I'm dipping.
I'm not happy that I'm third because my mouth is, my eyes are watering, my head is beaded.
Mm-hmm.
This is the hottest. This is the spiciest thing I've actually ever eaten.
This is the hottest thing I ever had. Ever.
Me too, except the time when I lost in my home league in 2022.
But you had to do that for you had to do 10. This is just 3. But
Yeah.
I see you're gonna
Alright.
we're all red. We're all red. But
Hey,
Gene,
what's beyond this?
nothing. That's the worst part. This is the last
The
one.
fetal position is beyond this.
Yeah.
All right, Gene, what's your hot
Okay.
take? Level 3, lay it on us as you
My
drip
nose
from the
is
nose and the eyes.
running.
You're good.
My eyes are watering. And my hot take is, Amanda, you don't have to worry about Ashton Jeanty falling out of the top 6 because the New York Giants are going to take Ashton Jeanty
Wow.
with the 3rd overall pick.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
You know what? I don't hate
I
this.
like
And I
it.
told Kendall like a week or two ago, I don't know, time's a flat circle right now. But I told her, wouldn't it be fun, Coach, if they draft Jeanty? Just imagine it in your head while I try to compose myself. They draft
You got
Jeanty. They play him for 6 seasons, and then they trade him to the Eagles where he's going to eclipse 2,000 yards and win a Super Bowl. Wouldn't that just be just perfect, Coach Gene? Please tell me that's what you envisioned when you said
It would
this.
be.
I actually envision them saying, hey, we screwed up letting Saquon Barkley go. We need an elite level back to bring in here. He's an elite level back. We don't know if next year has that guy like this. They only come around every once in a while. Let's get our guy right now to put with 2 veteran quarterbacks, a wide receiver core that has explosives, an offensive line that's improved. We've seen them make up for letting Xavier McKinney go on the defensive side by bringing Javon Holland in. That is an admission that you were wrong. This is the next admission that we're wrong. We're going to get Ashton Jeanty in here to be the bell cow back on our team.
I love it. I love it. Those were our hot takes, guys. And it was so much fun. I can't believe that I have to do an outro right now because I don't know if I can get through it. But if you're listening, go to fantasylife.com. Go and check out all of our NFL draft content, 100% free in those articles. We've got the rookie supermodel. We've got all of our rankings. I'm forgetting everything else that we have there because my mouth is on fire. We're going to go have an ice cream party. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us. We'll see you next time.